Okay, in today's video, I'm going to be doing the talk or the topic of the hotly controversial, I'm sorry about that, YouTube issue between two of the most popular YouTube channels as of right now, and that is, of course, PewDiePie versus T-Series. So let's get right into it here. So for those of you that don't know the backstory, I'm just going to recap it quickly. So let's get right into it here. So basically, I think from around 2013, PewDiePie assumed the role of king of YouTube because he was the most subscribed YouTuber in terms of individuality and that kind of stuff. And obviously, you can make the argument that there's like bigger channels too, like YouTube Music, which has like around 86 million back then. But those are YouTube created. There's a machine behind it, so there was really nothing to argue about because PewDiePie was obviously the king back then. And right now, his current throne is being threatened by this new company called T-Series. And actually, T-Series was founded a long time ago too, but recently it has spiked up in popularity so much so because I think I was watching like this Asian boss video where the people of India they were saying that like like in India they have like this service where if you pay like a cheap money like 5 rupees or whatever you would get like 30 or 50 minutes of Wi-Fi to use. And basically the whole initiative is that a lot of Indians are into you know T-Series because T-Series when these Indian people were little, they created like this Bollywood music, and they pretty much control the whole media of India. So they kind of owe like a great debt to them because when they were little, they were I guess showered with a bunch of Indian censorship, or I'm sorry, with a bunch of Indian content and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I feel like a lot of Indians are on board with T-Series beating up PewDiePie because it's sort of their thing. It's this call to patriotism, but it's also a call to their childhoods. The fact that they turn out to be normal human beings because of I guess the Bollywood's influential of positivity and all that kind of BS. Whereas when you compare to PewDiePie, obviously he isn't the best role model. In the past he's had a lot of controversial stuff. He kind of cusses a lot, so that's not good for the Indian kids. And he just plays a lot of I guess games that are not appropriate for the Indian audience. So I feel like, in a sense, I think another reason why Indians are not drawn into PewDiePie, and this is like most Indians, I assume, is because he just isn't the perfect role model for the people of India. They feel like some Swedish guy doesn't represent India in general, and therefore why should they subscribe to someone who is trying to threaten their way of letting T Series become the number one company. And I think this stems from the whole initiative of the fact that back then YouTube was very not marketable back then. Back then YouTube was just created for fun. Where people they would create YouTube videos not for the money necessarily, but just because they wanted to express their creativity. And if you look at YouTube a few years later compared to now, it's like now everything's money based. Now numbers mean money, and the more money you have, the more sponsorships and promotions you'll have, and everything kind of escalates from there. So at this point, YouTube has kind of turned into a business standpoint. I'd say even for the top YouTube creators too. Now they have to prioritize getting numbers, and the more numbers they have, the more money they'll make, and I guess the happier they'll feel. I'm not really too sure. Yeah, I mean, if you were to tell people, a few years ago that, oh, I want to, make a lot of money on YouTube, they'll probably laugh at you and they'll be like, oh, get a real job. YouTube's not a real job. Because a lot of the older people, I think they see YouTube as, just like a place where you can upload videos, but, something that you shouldn't really take too seriously. And now look at YouTube, now YouTube is a place where people can make a ton of money, and where if they are popular or successful enough, they can get sponsorships, getting go to these special events. Like I think I was watching like a trending video of Emma Chamberlain, and even though she's 17 years old, she was able to fly to France and do like a fashion show or like a runaway or some shit in France. But I think she was able to do that because she was popular enough, she had the right connections, and that's just the gist of it now. Is that if you are popular, if you are successful, if you are desirable to these big companies, they're going to splurge as much money as they can to, try to lure you in, I guess, and to, I guess, come up with a contract where, oh, if they give you like free stuff, you'll shout them out and they'll get free publicity. And honestly, I think it's a win-win, because for the companies, they don't have to pay a lot of money for advertising, and they don't have to use a lot of resources. They can just rely on, some big YouTuber to, do the job for them. And for these YouTubers, they can be expected to, be showered with these like exquisite things that normally a person or that normally a normal person wouldn't be able to do. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I myself as a individual YouTube content creator or someone of the old guard, um, I feel like this was inevitable. Ever since people have realized that there could be money made off of YouTube now, which was so bizarre back then. You know, it is the way it is. Now companies are trying to gather as much as they can before they go bankrupt and leave behind a lasting legacy or some BS like that. But yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, especially when you look at the PewDiePie and T Series scenario where PewDiePie is one person by himself. And even though he does have his international friends and fans with him, I feel like they don't equate 1.3 billion. When you compare one person to an entire fucking country, and mind you, the second most populated country on the earth, I feel like you're going to be at a major disadvantage because I think in a T Series headquarters, there's around like maybe 200 or so Indians working against PewDiePie. They're always churning out and pumping music. I believe they produce around 20 musics per day. And I think an individual person would just not be able to handle this amount of pressure. So, to end this video short, I'm just going to say that, this was something that was inevitable. Now more companies, they want a bigger piece of the pie, and you know, even the biggest YouTubers like PewDiePie will now have to fight for scraps because, basically, if you look at it on paper, it's just a battle that, that cannot be won any other way. It's a battle that was designed for PewDiePie to lose because, given the resources and the situation that he is right now, I feel like, 6 years on the throne was enough to, really cement his legacy. But now, with T Series trying to barge in and take the throne from PewDiePie straight up, that's life for you. Sometimes, or I guess the motto is that like one day you're hot shit, the next day you're trash or some BS like that. But that's just the gist of it. So with that being said, thank you for watching my videos. I know I haven't been producing the best videos as of lately. In fact, this year was a lot of experiments on my YouTube channel. So hopefully I'll get back into the more gameplay talk of the old days, and hopefully I can you know keep my content interesting for you guys to watch.